also had two major events here in the past week. We had two presidents, ex-presidents, visit South Carolina. You may have heard that former President Donald J. Trump was worshipped up in Pickens, South Carolina. How many of you attended? Good. I'd be worried if you had. But yeah, he showed up, had a big rally in Pickens, and Ken reached out to me on multiple platforms and he says, can you put together a video or clips showing how crazy they all were? And you know what, Ken, I got right to work. So I would like to show, this is 9 minutes long, so if you need a bathroom break and don't want to watch, this is a good time to do so. But I did put together from various sources across the internet some clips from that rally that occurred just up in Pickens. How many of you have been to Pickens before? Small town, right? It's one of those that if you blink, you miss it.
I used to own land there on the mountain.
You used to own land in Pickens.
And there was no way 50,000 people could get in that town. It was too small.
Well, they did. They were packed. They were packed. It's a town of 3,000 that hosted over 50, by some estimates, just this past week. So let's take a look at what happened in Pickens, shall we?
This is your local election headquarters, and former President Trump visited Pickens today ahead of the 2024 presidential election. We've got team coverage tonight. We do want to begin first with our Elise Devlin, who shows us what Trump had to say.
Former President Donald Trump addressed key campaign topics on Saturday in Pickens. During his speech to thousands of supporters, one thing he was seemingly confident in, his ability to win not only the South Carolina primary, but to also win re-election. Applause and USA chants from Trump supporters as the former president flew over Pickens before taking the stage on Main Street Saturday afternoon.
We are a nation that has lost its way, but we are not going to allow this horror to continue.
The speech comes after Trump became the first former president in U.S. history to face criminal prosecution. It's something he addressed, calling out the FBI and the Department of Justice.
What I do legally. In other words, whatever documents a president decides to take with him, he has the absolute right to do so.
South Carolina Governor Henry McMaster and Senator Lindsey Graham introduced Trump, welcoming him to the state of South Carolina and showing their support for him in the 2024 election.
We had great judges that Donald Trump put on the Supreme Court. We had unlimited prosperity. We had confidence. Our people had confidence, and our allies and our friends were confident in us. And our foreign enemies were scared to death, and that's why they didn't make a move during those 4 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome United States Senator Lindsey Graham.
It's the guts and it's the glory. 100 stripes, 100
Thank y'all. Welcome to Pickens. Thank y'all for coming. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank y'all. Thank you all for coming. Thank you very, very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thanks a bunch.
And again, Senator Lindsey Graham, who is really I'm going to have to work. I'm going to have to work on these people. I'm going to have to. All right. He's there. He's there when you need him. He's there when you need him. I'm going to get him straightened up.
Were to win the presidency again, and then 2028, he would be like 83 years old. People are here talking about changing the Constitution, let him run for a third term even. Would you be in favor of something like that?
Well, that's getting on up there in age, and people start losing their memory and things like that. So, I don't know. As long as he's able to keep the job, it's just like if I'm working till 70, and they draw a line and says you can't work here no more. That's the same way.
All of this stuff with the indictments, the classified documents, all of these things, is there anything Donald Trump could do to disqualify him from your vote?
No. he ain't done no more than any other presidents. You know, how many of them walked out of there with classified documents and stuff. And
Allegations against him show that he broke serious American laws. And as such, same with Nixon. It's the same kind of precedent there. Is there anything that would make you say, hey, you know what, maybe that's true. Maybe he shouldn't be president?
Well, they went after Donald Trump from the time he sat down in office. They was after him the whole time. He's been harassed more than any other president, that was in office. He was attacked all the time. And you can't believe the stuff you see on TV. I don't know.
Talk to me a little bit about which policies you like.
Well, I don't know. I mean, I can't really think of one right off the bat, but
I'd like to see him get us out of debt. Definitely.
Do you think
cost of living is way too high right now, and jobs don't pay enough?
Do you think that? So you want him to bring up the minimum wage?
Yes, definitely. Because people can't live off what minimum wage is now and support a family. I mean, there's just no way.
So you support the Democrats in Congress who are trying to fight for a minimum wage increase?
Yes. I mean, yeah. But yeah.
Okay. What did he do to make your life better the 4 years he was a president?
Maybe all of us got to see growth. Growth meaning to pause, and it's not no longer about an election. It's becoming a unity. Because if we don't unify, we don't grow. But what would you say?
What?
What policy-wise did you like? How did he make your life better in America?
Well, I think reducing regulations on business, let conservative thrive. The economy was better in a lot of ways. I just think he was a stand-up guy.
I'm Hispanic, and I really think that he helped this country securing the south border. That's important. Even if I'm Hispanic, people think like, why am I supporting Trump? I think he actually did a great job making sure drugs don't come to this country.
Do you give President Biden any credit for the economy starting to rebound?
No.
But you'll credit Trump with the rebound before, even though it was really continuing the Obama job surge is what Trump did.
I think he built maybe off of that, but our employment rate had dropped lower than it ever had been in U.S. history.
When was that?
That was back when Trump was president.
It had dropped.
Yes.
And you mean the unemployment rate or the employment?
The unemployment rate.
Okay. Because it was pretty strong for a while there before Trump got there.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about Donald Trump?
Well, he's got two good boys that are hunters, and he stands for American values is what I love about him. I just think he's one of us. I know he's very rich, but he has our values, and has our back.
Thoughts on the federal indictment?
My thoughts? Oh, I'm not worried about it.
Not worried, like you don't think he did what he's being accused of?
I mean, what's this indictment being accused of? It's like, they hand out indictments like cookies.
Well, he's only been indicted twice. In the recording that's been released now, you can hear Trump saying, this is still classified. I could have declassified it as president, but I didn't know.
Okay. He didn't know.
Or didn't, no, he did know.
By the
he
way,
did know.
It doesn't matter. He already talked to the FBI months earlier.
He said, give us the documents, give us the documents.
I'll help you. Not a problem. You guys are creating a mountain out of a molehill because you don't want him to run. The people that are in charge are so evil and so disgusting and so fascist, all of us are vulnerable, including you. If they don't like you, just look at what they're doing to Trump. Just realize that.
But, I would never hold on to classified documents and then lie to federal authorities and then obstructing investigation and then conspire with staffers to hide the contents. Right?
Grow up, please.
What are your thoughts about the Trump indictment?
It's probably garbage.
Probably garbage?
Yeah.
Did you read it?
No.
Okay. And then what about the audio recording that got released?
Probably garbage.
You didn't listen to it? How would you know it's garbage if you don't even look into it? Some serious things are being accused here.
Tell me what it is.
Mishandling and classified documents, holding on to them when he wasn't supposed to have them, violating a subpoena, lying to federal authorities, obstructing an investigation, and conspiring with other staffers to move around documents to keep federal authorities from getting them.
Sounds pretty serious, but Doesn't everybody do that?
Okay, and then one of the big things in the news right now is that tape of Trump caught on recording.
That has been debunked. It doesn't exist. Have you not heard that? That tape does not exist.
I heard it.
It doesn't.
A fake like AI Trump voice?
It must be because they tried to produce it and they couldn't produce it because it does not exist.
Even though I listened to it?
It might have been AI. I don't know.
Do you think wokeness, I hear a lot about wokeness on the right. Is that a big problem?
Like being woke, like these woke companies? Yeah, for sure.
And how would you define a woke?
Woke? Like leave the damn kids alone, that's for sure. That pisses me off.
Woke is leave the kids alone?
No. Dude, I didn't want to get into this too deep and stuff like that because I do got to carry on. But basically, just being woke, like you're just shoving crap down our throats. Like you have to do this and you have to do that and you have to obey this and you can't say that because Sally over there is going to get offended. And
you can't read this book, you can't be gay, etc.
Yeah, dude, all sorts of things. And it's annoying. I'm sick of it. I just want people to be happy.
All right, sorry to push you through that for 9 minutes. But this is what we are dealing with, ladies and gentlemen. There were 50,000 of them. I don't think he just cherry-picked. He just walked right up to random people, and that's what you heard. He didn't do it. Can't define this. I don't know why I'm mad, but I'm mad. Oh, I want to raise the minimum wage, like the Democrats are trying to do. Oh, didn't know that. Anybody have any opinions or thoughts on what you saw? What was your reaction?
I think there's a few common threads, right? And to be able to have talking points to those specific threads, I think would be really helpful. I know I hear from neighbors and family, this idea of shoved down my throat. And when you explore that a little bit more, it's interesting. Well, I've seen commercials and people talk about it. So somehow seeing a commercial is perceived as it's being shoved down my throat, or hearing people or seeing a post, it's being shoved down my throat. And it's a really interesting kind of wordplay, because that is not my definition of having something shoved down my throat.
I have a niece that lives in South Carolina over in Chester County. We had a discussion over Facebook with one of my Biden posts about how our unemployment is as low as it was in 1963, and that I would not vote for anybody ever from the GOP. She, being a Republican, had to say she agreed to disagree. And I said, "You're disagreeing with facts?" She then said, "Well, what are the facts you're talking about?" I simply was kind and told her everything that was going on, and I said, "Dear, your rights as a woman have gone back to 1943. She then thanked me for the information. And that's how we have to deal with our family, our friends, our neighbors that are very skewed with this. Be kind and just tell them what is really going on a one-on-one basis to turn these people to vote for Biden."
Great, thank you.
I have no opinion, but I do have a question. Did I hear the lady say that wages were low, too low, were not high enough? But at the same time, most Republicans don't want any more taxes, nor do they want to pay any higher wages. They want to keep, a lot of them want to keep them low. I'm not saying Republicans totally, I'm just talking about business people complain about the wages. So how do you raise wages? Maybe somebody can give me the answer. To me, they're speaking out of both. They want it all.
That's right. Yeah, she got very confused quickly after that question. All right, Alan, please.
I think to follow up on his point, it's real easy to sit there and say, well, what's wrong with them, but we do need to figure out how are we going to engage people within our circles of influence. It's not about talking about being on the streets or somewhere else engaging strangers. How do you engage your relatives, your friends, your coworkers? And part of that is you can't hurl epithets at each other. It's beyond that. The best thing you can do is plant some questions and see if you can get them to consider some things. And it's actually on both sides. I deal with a lot of Democratic friends. Well, what has Biden done? Or more specifically, what has Kamala done? I'm like, well, what has any vice president ever done? You know, that's a lose-lose job. If you do what you're supposed to do, you get no credit. And if you're sitting there fighting against the person you're supposed to support, you get nowhere there then either. So what I found is you have to do a lot of dripping on even the people who are supposedly on your side. This is what's going on. This is important that you understand what the facts are. Decide what you're going to do with them, but you at least need to operate from a position of fact. And even if you're talking to a Republican friend or whatever else trying to say, wise up and use your vote for something that is going to benefit the nation. Or if you're trying to say to a fellow Democrat, be engaged. Now is not the time to check out. But you've got to be able to figure out how to do that on a personal level with the people that are around.
Now, to your early comment, you know, what has Biden done being a question, we're going to hear from Biden in a minute, because he was also in South Carolina showing off what he has done. So we're going to hear directly from the man himself.
You know, they're starting to pick that narrative up on news. There's a ton he's done.
That's right.
Not just on the economics point, but for a person who's come into a divided government with all of the acrimony that's there, he's just been a constant force behind the scenes, pissed off some Democrats along the way, pissed off a lot of Republicans along the way, was masterful in the way that, you know, he maneuvered around McCarthy and everything else to get the debt increase done. So he's proven how effective you can be when you're a career politician who's focused on good government.
That's right. One more comment, we'll hear from the president himself.
I'm kind of going to piggyback on what he said and what I had said at a previous meeting. Somewhere we have got to be able to pull statistics, something concrete that we can have and say, what will be our message? I think the lady that was here before said that, what will be our specific message to people about what are the benefit that will for you or the losses that will be for you. We got to have something to put before people so it registers with them what's going to happen in your district here, what's going to happen in your, you know, what it's going to affect. Let them, people don't just, you know, like you said, you can get mad and talk about him and say all this stuff against him because they're going to do that. Now, we don't have to worry about that. They're going to do that. Their forte. But something has got to be put in front of people to show them what's in store for them or what they can get or gather or what will be best for you. You got to put a program out there. You got to lay something.
That's right.
Because they're not going to just take what you say. You know what I'm saying? They're going to have, you got to put a package of something together. This is boom, boom, and have those things laid. And this is compare statistics. On that, something's got to be done like that.
So
that's the only thing that can do it.
I have a favorite ask of you. We're going to be putting together some literature for distribution when it comes to election season. You know, vote for Joe, vote for Kamala, vote for this person, that person, and we want to make sure we include why. Very clear language, why. Not too wordy, but it needs to be powerful and succinct so people know why they need to vote, not just that they need to vote. So I would like you to participate in that and help with that message. So thank you. Let's take a couple of minutes and hear from our current president, who was in West Columbia last week. And this is only about 6 minutes long here.
Hello, my name is Nikki Hicks, and I am an automation technician here at Flex, and I'm honored to represent the Flex employees here today. I'm a new mother with a happy, healthy 2-month-old baby boy. I grew up in the Georgetown, South Carolina area. Being a female automation engineer is unusual, but I like that I am breaking new grounds and showing others they can do the same. My goal is to become a manager and run operations one day. I am also hopeful about the future. I believe I can continue my love of learning, advance my career, and support my family. I am grateful we have a president who understands these aspirations, a president who gets it, a president who cares and works about good paying jobs and about families like mine. That is why I'm honored today to introduce the President of the United States, Joe Biden.
South Carolina. Folks, thank you both for being here. And I want to particularly thank my good friend Jim Clyburn. The truth of the matter is, all of you know in South Carolina, I wouldn't be standing here were it not for Jim Clyburn. Jim has been one of the most consequential leaders in South Carolina history, in my view. He's tough, he's loyal, he's principled, and he let me. I'm going to tell you something. If he has your back, he always has your back. I also want to thank the leadership of Enphase and Flex for hosting us. You know, I'm here to talk about what we're doing to invest in America, and I mean invest in America, all of America, starting here in South Carolina. And to talk about the progress we made in building an economy from the middle out and the bottom up, not trickling down. When you build from the middle out and the bottom up, everybody does well. The wealthy still do very well. But that trickle-down economy, not a whole lot dropped on my dad's kitchen table growing up. It's all part of an economic vision for this country. I came to office determined, to the point that some of my own team thought I was too determined, to change the economic direction of this country, to move trickle-down economics and get rid of it where everyone from the Wall Street Journal, the Financial Times, called the program Bidenomics. I'm not sure they meant it as a compliment at the time. Our plan is working. And one of the things I'm proudest of is working everywhere, not just in the coast and big cities like previous recoveries. This time investment is working in factories being built and jobs being created, happening in rural America, the heartland, all across America. In communities that have been left out and hollowed out. This is what it looks like across the country. Over 13 million new jobs since I've been elected to office. More jobs than any president's ever created in the first 2 years. Nearly 800,000 manufacturing jobs, including 14,000 in this state alone. This state alone. And again, that's more in 2 years than was created in 4 years in any other administration. Unemployment has been below 4% for the longest time in 50 years. Inflation is less than half of what it was a year ago, and we're continuing to work on it. You know, predecessor, Infrastructure Week became a punchline. Yesterday we announced that since I took office, we've attracted $500 billion, $497 billion in private investment in American manufacturing, both here and around the world. It's historic. And it's Bidenomics in action. Instead of exporting jobs to cheaper labor costs, what we did for decades, we're creating jobs here and exporting American product. Product, not jobs. By the way, parenthetically, I want you to, you're going to hear about the deficit. I cut the deficit $1.7 trillion in 2 years. Nobody's ever done that. Cut the debt 1.7. This generates income. It generates growth. Since I took office, we've seen over 60 domestic manufacturing announcements all across the solar supply chain. One of the biggest is in Dalton, Georgia. You may find it hard to believe, but that's Marjorie Taylor Greene's district. I'll be there for the groundbreaking. My dad used to have an expression for growing up, my word. He'd say, Joey, a job's about a lot more than the paycheck. It's about your dignity. It's about respect. It's about being able to look your kid in the eye and say, honey, it's going to be okay, and mean it. That's Bidenomics. It's rooted in what always worked best for this country. Investing in America. Because when you invest in our people, when you strengthen the middle class, we see stronger economic growth that benefits everybody. I've long said it's never been a good bet to bet against America. And I can honestly say I've never been more optimistic about America's future. We just have to remember who we are, for God's sake. We're the United States of America. There is nothing beyond our capacity if we work together. So let's continue to work together. God bless you all, and may God protect our troops. Thank you.
What a difference, huh? Quite different than the other guy speaking. You know, one is speaking in jokes and emotional language, And then Biden went right up and just gave the straight facts. So you talk about the numbers, man. He knew them right off the top of his head because it was under his administration that all that happened. And how'd you like that comment about opening up the hugest solar plant in the nation in Marjorie Taylor Greene's district? And how he would be there for the ground opening. Did you see the face he made? Cracked me up when he said it. All right, so that was a tale of two presidents. I'm happy with Joe Biden right now. You know, one fallacy that's always made is that the president is responsible for everything. Gets blamed for everything, but a president doesn't do everything by snapping his or her fingers. They can't do it alone. You have to build a strong administration around you, a good team around you. You have to build relationships in Congress and the Senate to get things done. That's something that Trump could never do. His administration turned over every 5 minutes. Biden's kept a good team around him, and things have gone on. So I'm confident that he keeps that team. Our country will continue in the right direction.